Do you know this feeling? On the outside, everything looks fine. Your life works, you're successful, many things are going well. And yet, inside, it feels heavy and stuck. There's an inner restlessness or perhaps a deep exhaustion. It really weighs on you and you can feel it clearly. Things can't carry on like this. This is exactly the point at which many people come to me, and it's also the point at which my own journey with logosynthesis began more than 10 years ago. I first came across logosynthesis when I booked a coaching session for myself. At the time, I knew nothing about the approach. The sentences we worked with felt quite unfamiliar, and to be honest, I wondered what was actually happening. What convinced me very quickly was the effect. Even after this first session, I could clearly feel that something inside me had shifted in a way I could notice and that actually lasted. And I realized quite quickly, this is a powerful tool. I want to learn this. Today, I've been working with logosynthesis for over 10 years. I'm a master practitioner and instructor, and logosynthesis is my central approach in coaching. I use it whenever people reach a point where they've rationally understood what's going on and yet still feel stuck on an inner level. That's where my real work begins. At this point, you might be wondering, how can something like this actually work? Energy, psychological modalities, and logosynthesis is one of them, are based on the understanding that stressful experiences aren't stored only as thoughts. They are stored as a combination of stress responses in the nervous system, including bodily sensations, emotions, and automatic patterns of behavior. That is why understanding alone often is not enough. In the process, the nervous system receives something like an update. It realizes it's safe now, and that's exactly when change becomes possible. The memory remains, but no longer triggers you. And this is how real choice and freedom return. Logosynthesis is based on 4 core principles. First, everything is energy. Second, energy is either flowing or frozen. Third, energy belongs either to you or to someone else. And fourth, words can move this energy. In logosynthesis, we use words as clear verbal interventions, carefully worded sentences that address different aspects of energy. For example, your own bound energy, foreign energy that doesn't belong to you but is still held in your system, and your reactions to a particular issue. These sentences help to release what's stuck in the system so that energy can start flowing again. By the way, you can find the exact wording of these sentences in the show notes or on my website, depending on where you are watching this video right now. I've written them out in full there. The goal of this work isn't to suppress or override anything, but to be able to look at your issue freely and calmly. The effects of this work can vary quite a lot, and sometimes they are genuinely quite remarkable. It often happens that clients come into a session feeling a great sense of inner heaviness, and by the end of the session, the same issue feels calm or light or simply resolved. Very often we end a session laughing together, not because the issue was trivial, but because so much inner tension had been released. One particularly strong indicator for me is when a client later can barely remember the issue we worked on, because it's become so neutral inside that it simply doesn't matter anymore. These changes show up very clearly in everyday life and also in a professional context. Many of my clients are self-employed coaches, consultants, or experts in very different fields. Typical topics include perfectionism, self-doubt, procrastination, confidence around pricing, visibility, clear positioning, and very often the ability to set boundaries with clients in business and also in private life. We don't work only on the business problems itself, but also on the inner blockages behind it. Sometimes we start from the business issue, sometimes from the uncomfortable inner feeling. In the end, both levels are addressed. And when these patterns dissolve, decisions, behavior, and your professional presence often change quite naturally. The session usually begins with a short check-in and then quite quickly with the question, what do you want to work on today? The topic always comes from the present moment and is defined by you, the client, by what matters to you right now. It can be a business topic or a personal inner issue. In practice, these often overlap and we move between these levels as needed. We often start with a very concrete situation from your everyday life, something that's just happened, stressed you, or felt uncomfortable, or a situation where you notice I react in the same way again and again. Many people then stay very much in their head, able to explain everything, but without any real inner change. Because of that, we move fairly quickly into body awareness through, for example, breathing, through a little guided meditation or a body scan, and often through the question, what's happening in your body right now? From this bodily awareness, the trigger usually becomes clear quite quickly. It might be an inner image, a belief, a voice, a memory, a metaphor, or a specific person. And that's exactly what we then work on. This initial phase takes quite some time and it's meant to. It's completely normal and even good to spend the first 20 or 30 minutes of a session on this exploration. I hold the frame and guide the process. You decide the pace and direction at all times. Logosynthesis isn't something I do to you, but something you set in motion within yourself with my support. A session usually lasts 1 hour and I work mainly online. By the way, if you happen to be on Mallorca or live on Mallorca and would like to work with me in person, we can arrange that too. Some clients come occasionally with a specific topic. Others work with me on a regular basis, and these clients in particular experience clear development and relief over time, more and more inner calm and a noticeably better quality of life overall. Thank you for listening. I hope this has given you a sense of what logosynthesis is and how I work with it. If you're curious to explore this further, you can book a 30-minute introductory session with me directly on this page. It's a chance for us to talk, for you to get a feel how I work, and for us to see together whether this approach might be right for you. There's no obligation, just a conversation. If you want to book such a meeting, there's a booking link directly on my website. If you're already there, look out for it. And if you're on YouTube, look into the show notes. You'll find a link to my website there, and there you can book a conversation with me. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Take care.